Yes, everybody, hello, welcome back to another live show. Welcome back to Forever United TV, bringing you up to date with everything going on around your beloved Manchester United. Get your comments in the live comment section. Again, everybody, today on the show, we're going interactive. We're talking about what was said yesterday about Ruben Amorim being safe, and then more stories coming out late last night about what Sir Jim Ratcliffe really thinks of the situation. Updates from Fabrizio Romano we've touched on already, but we're going to go into a bit more detail in them. Sully was also talking last night. First time I've heard him talk, he was actually on a Twitter space with real journalists tuning in, so really interesting to see who actually tuned into that Twitter space. And he was cut off mid-flow and talking about what was going on at Manchester United. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Interesting situations that developed around Manuel Ugarte and Harry Maguire also. Ruben Amorim's future, that is all the talk this morning around Manchester United. We're going to get your thoughts on this. We're going to go through all of the news around the Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ruben Amorim situation first of all, then come to the comments and give you your chance to have your say as well. So get in there with your thoughts, get your conversations going. Of course, if you are catching up later on as well, get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking on everything going on. I've been asked to go on Sky later on, actually, Sky Sports. So I'm going to be on Sky Sports just after 10 o'clock talking about Ruben Amorim and what's happening with the Man United situation. It seems to be changing from day to day at the moment. Now, Romano came out last night and he was talking about Ruben Amorim, the situation. All he's hearing about is positive words from the ownership, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos, about Ruben Amorim, him being safe, it feeling positive and still okay at Manchester United. Sully, however, came out last night and was talking about Ruben Amorim having 1 foot out of the door. Now, when I seen that, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, Ruben Amorim will do everything for Manchester United, he said in his press conference. And when I said just a minute ago there, when there was a lot of journalists actually tuning into that Twitter space last night on what was actually happening and wanting to know what was being said, because Sully does get a lot of information from in and around Manchester United and updates us on a lot of stuff with injuries and things like that, and sort of the general word on the ground around the club, training ground, staff and what's going on. So for him to come out and say people at Manchester United are saying that Ruben's had 1 foot out of the door, it goes off the back of what was said yesterday. Remember when we said that from Samuel Luckhurst that staff or people around Ruben Amorim are actually amazed that his job isn't up for threat at the moment with how bad it is. The stats are out there for everybody to see. Ruben Amorim is the worst manager at Manchester United going off win ratio post World War II. So it's quite clear that the man is under pressure. We know that, and we've talked about that. We've talked in detail about how Ruben Amorim could change things and help himself out a little bit. But how does Sir Jim Ratcliffe feel about everything? What does he think is going on right now? Because we've heard all the stories, his best mates with him. Well, not best mates, but really good friends with him. They have these conversations. They swear at each other. They have a go at each other. They're back and forth. Yeah, it's all right if things are going well. If things are not going well, then people are going to start questioning that as to are you just keeping him in a job because you like the guy, he's a friend, you get on well with him, and so forth. That, I don't think, is doable at football. I don't think it will even get to that stage. And I'm not saying that it is, but people will start talking. And like we've said before, more and more talk means more and more pressure and more unrest within Manchester United. And it just starts to spread. And I've seen this before. Like Gary Neville said, we've seen this movie before. It spreads like wildfire when it comes to Manchester United negativity. So, yeah, we don't need anything else coming out on this. And we sort of kind of want to know where Sir Jim Ratcliffe actually is at. So, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, when you're looking at it, I'm just going to read through a few of these comments and everything that's actually happening at the football club right now with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Sir Jim, and this came from Ben Jacobs late last night as well. Sir Jim Ratcliffe feels that United's squad is good enough to qualify for the Champions League this season. Okay. And that Amorim's job security will be more seriously discussed if the side is not on course for European football as the season progresses. So, according to Ben Jacobs, first of all, from this one, this I think is, it's risky, is what I would say. If this is real, and it's Ben Jacobs, and you can give him a little bit of credit in this one, in reporting this, but Jacobs saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to give Ruben time Is it till it comes untenable? Is it come to mathematically not possible to make European football? The key in that statement there, and that Amorim's job security will be more seriously discussed if the side is not on course for European football. Well, what point do we start to discuss when we're not on course? A couple of wins can propel Man United straight back in to the top half of the table, into the European places. Simple. United could go out and beat Chelsea this weekend. United could beat Brentford and Sunderland. We can win all of them games. We could lose all of them games. But if we win all of them games, then Manchester United are right back up there and the conversation dies on its arse completely. Which is why I don't see Ruben moving anywhere until we get to the December sort of time. And that stands from Sir Jim Ratcliffe there, going off the back of what Fabrizio Romano said last night. He wanted to be at the stadium yesterday, his presence felt, and I think that was important for him. He wants to have a hands-on approach and try and find out what's going on the ground with Manchester United and be there to know exactly what the vibe is, what's happening and how he can help. Yeah, all good and well. Ownership really goes so far when it comes to getting involved in the team and what he can do right now. There isn't much that Sir Jim Ratcliffe can do apart from look at the relationship between the players and Ruben. Do they believe in him? Does he see what we see? Does he see players struggling in this system? Does he get onto his sporting director, Jason Wilcox, and say, maybe have a little word with him? Maybe have a chat with Ruben Amorim to say, look, we can actually see this. We're watching this from the stands. Jason Wilcox knows football. He knows what he's watching there on the pitch at Manchester United. He will be in discussions with Ruben, and I'm sure Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be talking to Jason Wilcox as well and saying, look, you need to start maybe adapting a little bit more. I don't know how Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to work it, I'll be honest, but the intriguing bit in that is the bit where he says, until it looks like we're not on course to make European football. I'm going to get your comments on that now. And then I'm going to bring in the Ruben side and the update from Ruben Amorim from last night as well. So comments on this one. When is it the stage to start looking at if we're on course or not? How far do we take this? How far do Manchester United need to go before they think that Ruben cannot take this team anymore or any closer to the European places? So Jim Ratcliffe feels, and get your comments in on this one as well, people. So Jim Ratcliffe feels that Manchester United have a good enough squad to make Champions League football. I have said throughout the summer that Man United should be challenging for the top four. Everyone's shot me down. I really, like the start of the season, is kind of now getting to a stage where my take on it is going to start coming through here, because I think we'll beat Chelsea at weekend because of European football. I think Manchester United will be fitter, I think they'll be sharper, and I think they can go at Chelsea, and I think we beat them at weekend, and all of a sudden Manchester United pop their head back into the top half of the table, and it calms down for another week. It's when we play Brentford, when they're fully prepared, and the intensity of Brentford that they brought against Chelsea comes against a weak Manchester United side, who Ruben Amorim, according to sources, believes are not mentally prepared, and are just have a problem in handling the pressure of being a Manchester United player. That's what he's alluding to anyway. Let's get into some of the comments on this one. How far do we take it is basically the question right now. Congrats on the 100k on the super chat. It says, Motaz, thank you everybody. Again, 100,000. We hit that yesterday morning, this time yesterday. Brilliant, thank you. Let's start building to the next target right now. And that is, of course, the 150. Let's just say, should we say 125, 1.25? Well, we'll go with that, and start building on. But thank you again. It was a massive milestone, and I'm absolutely made up with it. So cheers, everybody. Congratulations, Adam, on reaching 100k subs. That was from Jack Jones, who's just renewed his membership. Jack, you're a legend, mate. Thank you very much. By the way, everybody, to celebrate this, we're going to have a couple of drinks over at Salford Quays before the game on Saturday. So if anyone's going to the Chelsea game this Saturday, meeting up with a couple of mods, we're going to have a couple of drinks around about 12 o'clock-ish before the Chelsea game. Everyone wants to meet up or say hello and come and have a chat. More on that towards the weekend, but we're just planning on having a little bit of a drink just before we head into Old Trafford for the Chelsea game. So yeah, make sure that you're there if you want to be and have a chat and come and say hello and things like that. So yeah, I'll let you know more on that towards the weekend. Right, let's get some more comments in on this one. Specifically, everyone, let's get to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's look on this. He feels like United are Champions League quality squad. Markash says, so Jim Ratcliffe and board back Amorim, they know it's a long rebuild, no quick fix. You can't add 3 players, a goalkeeper, then state the team who finished worst in the Prem's history and lost a final can compete after 200 million. What the F? I would counteract that by saying a team that won the Europa League last season after finishing 17th are now in the top 4 with less money spent than what United did in Spurs. A EFL manager coming in at Brentford with them losing their captain, their leading goal scorer, their second leading goal scorer, and their manager higher than Manchester United, performing better already than United this season. I'll say David Moyes, former Manchester United manager, who has spent, this summer? In the top 7 of the Premier League. And we're talking about starts here, so let's put it in perspective. We're talking about starts to a season. There's no excuse for Manchester United to actually be this bad right now. There is zero, because we've got everybody fit and everybody available. And of course, we have, let's be honest, we've had a full pre-season. So, yeah, on that, Markash, I get what you're saying, mate. But I also have to look from the other side. And that's what people will come back to you with as well. Because others are proving that they can do it with lesser squads and lesser money spent. And that's what will always come back. James says, if he gives him too much time, he'll be looking at relegation. Top 4, oh my God. Ineos need to wake up and get rid to save the season when, not if, in his opinion, we lose to Chelsea. So Jim Ratcliffe needs to check the table. If we lose to Chelsea, everybody, is that it? That's another one that we've got to say, really. Is that it if we lose to Chelsea? Interesting. Lawrence says, Sir Jim is always justifying his tightness. He needed to spend double, maybe 3 times on players this summer to get a top 5 finish. Greg says, I'm fully behind him, but I think he'd say himself, if he hasn't got us into Europe, then he should be up for the chop like the rest of the team now. I get what you're saying there, mate. I really do. Again, we talked about it last night. Does the team have to take any responsibility for this as well? I think it does. The players have to look at themselves in all of this. Adam, the owners have to go because it's the same old scripts. Every time a new manager comes in, the rot doesn't stop until people wake up and see the real problems at United. We know what the real problems are, mate, though, Bandit. And look, what can we say? You can't blame Ineos for what's happening on the pitch. They've come in, they've spent their own money, they've put money into the club, what we wanted them to do. They've already got things moving with a new stadium. They've already changed up the training ground. They're doing things that we would want an ownership model to do. Right now, I think that team is more than good enough to have at least won 3 of the first 5 games. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that that team that's been assembled this summer was good enough to at least win 3 of the first 5 games, Carabao Cup and Premier League? Come on, let's be honest. We are, aren't we? When you look at the opposition, we should have beat Brentford. We should have beat Grimsby. We should have beaten Fulham with the start that we had, but we've not. We just don't do it, and that's the problem. That team is good enough, and I get what Sir Jim is saying there. United should be at least in the top half of the table right now, and in the Carabao Cup this week. It's as simple as that, and we're not. So, effectively, it is down to what's happening on the pitch. And I think we can use the ownership model in certain areas to blame, but not in this instance, I don't think. But it's just my opinion anyway, but I'm getting everyone else's in, so please do pile in and keep it coming, everyone. The realist says, don't forget to tickle the like button. Please do hit the like button if you're enjoying the content, everybody. Bringing you these debate shows constantly every single day now. There's a lot to discuss around Manchester United. There really is. There really is. All the managers we had post Alex Ferguson have been poor, with the exception of Moyes, who wasn't given time. Plenty of evidence to support this theory. Amorim is another poor manager in a long line. Jose Mourinho had won everything. Ruben Amorim was going to go to another top Premier League club. David Moyes, I think, did actually I think he performed poorly, to be honest, David Moyes. I really do. Maybe he could have been given more time. You could argue that point. But yes, he was the one that was trying to change things up at Manchester United from what didn't need to be changed. And he sort of set the rot in. Van Gaal should not have been sacked. Simple. He should not have been sacked. and maybe Man United would have had a better structure in place by now, and we might have had a different philosophy in place right now. But that there set the tone. The Louis van Gaal sacking was the one that really set the tone for Manchester United. The fact that we'd just won a trophy, we'd finished out of the top 4 on goal difference, and then sacked him the same day because Jose was around. Yes, Jose went on the next season and won 2 trophies, and that's brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly what Manchester United should have been doing. So we could have said that that was the right decision to make as well at the same time. But could Van Gaal have won that Europa League? Yeah, it does come off the back of winning the FA Cup. So, look, there's a few different ways you can look at the sackings of Manchester United and the quality of the managers that have been post Alex Ferguson. But one thing is for certain is that the ownership at that time for all of them previous managers was not what was required at United. Structure-wise, spending-wise, employment-wise, as in who was actually running the football club, who was doing certain roles, it was a mess. And them managers really did get thrown under the bus. So I'll defend all of them managers, like David Moyes, like Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho. They did not get the support from this football club. And Ruben Amorim is. That's the big difference in this. He is getting the support from the football club. And I think it is clear for everybody to see as well, because it's not silent anymore. We're hearing Ineos come out. We're hearing what they're saying. And there's no excuse for Ruben Amorim at the moment. There isn't. Them first 5 games, no excuse for it. That end of last season, no excuse for it. You can't lose at home to West Ham, to Wolves. You can't lose these games in the running. It's just not on. It's not on. You cannot just sacrifice the whole league season or the performances and results just because we need to break it down and go back to scratch and scratch that and go back to the beginning again, start from the ground up. You can't do that at United. Ross says in the super chat, what point do you say the tactics that worked in other leagues do not work in the Premier League? Continue to play a clear out, adapt the system. Possibly. Yeah, I think it's a sensible way. Continue doing what you're doing, but just adapt it a little bit. The loss against Arsenal start of the season really set the tone. We should have and deserved to win that match. If we win that, things would be different. It still annoys me, that result. It might have just given us that little bit of a boost going into the season. Could have easily done that, but it didn't. And that's the thing. And they've talked about fine margins. There's a lot of reports coming out on top of what we're talking about here, talking about fine margins and not gone our way. I've seen one piece from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail saying that the injuries to key players as well have stopped Manchester United in their tracks as well. I'm looking at him going, who? We've had 2 injuries, Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha. That's it so far this season. 1 game they've missed, and we lost that game. What are we getting about the first 4 games? Do they not count? So we have to now start looking at injuries and using them as an excuse again now, because we've just lost Cunha and Mason Mount for 1 game, and we lost that game embarrassingly to Manchester City. So yeah, injuries are the problem again. Let's make another excuse. Shut up. Shut up. The injuries are not an excuse. We have got more than enough to win the games that we have been in this season, and without Mount and Cunha against Man City. City were poor and were there for the taking, and we made them look good at weekend. So I'm not having them excuses coming in either. Anyway, moving back from what Sir Jim Ratcliffe thinks in terms of when Manchester United actually do start looking to move Ruben on, I've picked up quite a lot of the comments there on that one, and they've all said in and around the November, December time, realistically. Some people right now, I can also see in the live chat there, are saying if he loses to Chelsea, that's it. He's out. Well, this could be an interesting weekend. We beat Chelsea at weekend. I'm telling you right now, United beat Chelsea at weekend. And it goes back to where it was. It's like a stop-start. It just keeps moving it along. But until he wins 2 games in a row, 3 or 4, 5, 6 games in a row, nobody's going to be convinced. So we'll beat Chelsea, we'll feel good, but then we start bricking it for the following weekend against Brentford. That's just the way that it is at the moment. The interesting one that did come out last night was from Sully when he said Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has 1 foot out of the door. In quotes, 1 foot out of the door. With figures within the club believing Ruben Amorim's refusal to change and his stubbornness will get him sacked soon. People actually think that he is going to be sacked or moved on. Does Ruben Amorim believe that he's the right man? The way he's talking at the moment doesn't convince me either. Look, results change everything. If Ruben goes behind the scenes at Carrington, works with these players, changes up a little bit, everything on that pitch starts to change instantly, then nobody can say that he hasn't given it a go the other way. He hasn't given it a go. Like, even what Paul Scholes said, Paul Scholes was talking about it. He's going to get sacked unless he changes it. It's getting tiresome now, Paul Scholes said. People at United feel like his stubbornness is going to get him sacked. And it goes back to what I said on the day. The initial thoughts that were in my head after that game against Man City at weekend were that he's getting himself sacked. So what does Sir Jim Ratcliffe do? I actually do believe that he's going to get the next 8 games. Well, it'll probably be about 7. So that's going to be this bunch of games in between the next international break, then the next bunch of games in between the last international break, and then the November international break, I think, is where a decision will be made if United are still where they are now. Like Gary Neville said last night, it just moves on another day. If you don't beat Chelsea at weekend, it's 5 games into the Premier League season, not 4. And then you're looking at Brentford, you might scrape a draw, but then it's 6 games into the season with 1 win. And then you're scraping a result possibly against Sunderland, 7 games in. Everyone's happy we've got a win going into the international break, but when you look at it, it's 2 wins in 7 at the start of the season, and United are probably still in the bottom half of the table. And then you move on to the last international break. Them games in between, they're the crucial ones. I actually looked a little bit deeper into the fixtures as well. And if you do go into the games that United have got coming up, obviously it's Chelsea, then it's Brentford, then it's Sunderland. We come back from international break, and check this out, yeah? Straight off the back of international break, we're away to Liverpool. We're at home to Brighton. 2 games that we haven't had a result in the last 4 years. In terms of positive win result, we haven't won any of them fixtures in the last 4 years. And then we're away to Nottingham Forest. I know Ange Postecoglou's there and it's not Nuno, but man, we haven't got a good record against Ange Postecoglou with Ruben Amorim at the moment and the way that he plays. So I'm really looking at them games and going, he just better win. He needs to beat Chelsea because we're fitter and we're more prepared for the game because they've got European football. I don't care. It has to be that way. I actually think that I'm pretty certain Chelsea are actually playing on the Chelsea on the Thursday. I'm not too sure on that one. Let me just double check when Chelsea actually play now, just to make sure. I'm pretty certain they're at the later stage. No, they're tomorrow against Bayern Munich. Sorry, I got that one wrong. So they're playing on Wednesday away in Germany. So Manchester United fully prepared, I think, for the game against Chelsea. And there's no excuse. Absolutely zero excuse. But I'm just not convinced that Ruben feels like he's the man at the moment as well in all of this. In all the talk and the leaks coming out, Sully was actually on this space last night on Twitter talking about the targets and what Manchester United wanted and what's going on behind the scenes, the unrest. He messages me sometimes as well talking about what things have been said and what's coming out. And you'll usually get them coming out on social media anyway later on. But there is nothing really positive at the moment from when the season started coming out from Manchester United. It's like, again, when the chips are down, the players have just lost hope in what's happening and they're looking for an excuse out. Like we said last night, if the players are not happy about the system and it's suiting their skill sets, then I don't care. I don't care. Honestly, like, deal with it. That's what a professional footballer should do. I understand that if you're not playing because of this system, then you've got an argument there. And if Cobby doesn't start the next game after the way he came on against Manchester City, then there really is a question to be asked about Ruben Amorim and Cobby Mainoo, because he showed more than Bruno and Manuel Ugarte in the 30 minutes he came on the pitch on Sunday against City, Cobby Mainoo. If he does not start against Chelsea, I'm really, really concerned that this one is going to go one way, and that's Mainoo asking for a transfer in January, because we're running out of games. I've said it before, there isn't enough games for Manchester United to give every single player enough game time. These so-called friendlies that we're looking to bring in between Premier League weeks over in the Far East, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough for these players. It will just feel like you are the second string squad, won't it? to these players if they're not featuring. So, yeah, I'm not convinced by Ruben's what he's saying at the moment. I'm convinced that Ruben can get it right at United, and I want to see him tweak it, because Ruben, with his methods and his intensity in the right sort of shape and system, I think can do a job for Man United. I really do. And I'm with everybody else. I'm thinking if it's not fixed by December, if it's not fixed after that last international break, then Ruben is out of here. I think he'll pick up a couple of wins, but just keep his head above water. That's my biggest concern. And is that enough? No, it's not. But I'm saying right now, I want him to stay. I don't think he's going to stay. That's still my stance on it. Brian with a super chat says, I've seen this film before. He'll dig his heels in and gets the sack. He'll have 3 or 4 false dawns before now and then, only to be let down again. Is that Ruben Amorim, Brian? I think that's what you're alluding to there, mates. As in, the players looking like they have figured out what he wants, I'm guessing. Bruno Fernandes came out, and someone mentioned this actually last night on the show, talking about what the defenders need to do in this system, like the intensity of the defenders in the Ruben Amorim shape. Bruno come out after and spoke on Sky after the City game, saying that he feels that the defenders need to be more intense, coming in and joining in the midfield too, because all City did was just completely overwhelm Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes, and we were too deep. So Rodri would come in, you'd have Reinders come in, and then you'd have Doku and Phil Foden making it a 4-on-2 against Bruno and Manuel Ugarte. Against Arsenal, Shaw and Yoro both stepped forward and made that midfield up, and that's how they won the game. So how are these players not figuring out that is how we need to play? How are they not switched on to what Ruben wants in the games? And that's where you sort of look at the players again, and you'd say, look, if you can do it against Arsenal, who have got a 20 times better midfield than what Man City have, then you can do it against a very poor Manchester City. Doku turns up once in a blue moon, pardon the pun. Phil Foden, I don't know where he's been. I've not heard his name for about a year and a half. He's been completely off the scene. All of a sudden, United turn up and he's back. Reinders is still finding his feet. I've seen that man kick the ball out of play with no pressure on him about 4 times in that game against City. Rodri is Rodri, quality player, Ballon d'Or, best midfielder, holding midfielder in the world. But compare that to what Arsenal have got. I'm sorry, if United can handle Arsenal, why are we not switched on? Maybe it was the personnel. Maybe it was the selection at the start of the game, like I've moaned about, and like a lot of people have said. Manuel Ugarte didn't belong in that side. Bruno Fernandes should not be in that midfield. If everybody's been coached the same way, surely you can change it up and think, you know what? Maybe we need that experience of Bruno further up the pitch. And let's bring in Kobe Mainoo or play Casemiro and Ugarte, because Casemiro will know exactly what he needs to do, and he will tell Manuel Ugarte what he needs to do as well. Look, I just think he got that wrong in that one, and that's where I do actually go down on on Ruben Amorim. And don't forget, QR code on your screen for OK Jerseys, everybody. If you want to grab your replica kits, your replica shirts, and special ones like this one that I've got on right now, fantastic fit, £15 a shirt. But right now, if you use promo code ADAM, when you're making your order, you get another 8% off. So you're getting them around about 13 quid at the moment, people. All the shirts around Europe and the world on the site. Click the QR code there or link in the description. Grab your bagging kits now. Kids kits, by the way, full kits with socks as well. Shorts, everything. Absolutely brilliant. Christmas time, definitely be on it. Get prepared. Get your kits now there on OK Jerseys, everybody. Thanks to them again for hooking us up. We need a Bruno bench. That's what we need. No, we don't really, mate. We need Bruno to play in the 10 where he should be playing. That's what we need. But on that, Cal, Ruben Amorim needs to make a decision. He's got a captain there that he doesn't feel like he can drop because he understands what he needs to do. That's all I can think Ruben's thinking, because clearly Bruno did not know what he was doing against Manchester City. He was dreadful, like every other player on the pitch. But I think he does need to start making some big calls. Like, if you've got Cunha and Bumo and Sesko, them 3 have to play. You have to give them a chance. Otherwise, you've just wasted a whole summer's preparation. I know you could say that Mount deserves a shot. Zirk say he could put Bruno there. Ahmad should be there. But you have gone out and spent 200 million on a front 3. They need to be playing when they're fit. They need to be given a chance. Because if they're not, then they're not going to feel like they are good enough for Manchester United straight away. And then that is the problem that we've got with all of the other players we've got right now. We brought in Manuel Ugarte last season. Don't know if he's playing or not. If you're going to go out and spend that type of money on a player, it's a player to come into your team, not to decide whether he's good enough. Like, who is in charge of the recruitment when doing that? That's ridiculous. It's the same with Xerxes. Not Xerxes, sorry. Same with Sesko. Sesko should be up front every single game for Manchester United. You've just spent 73 million quid on him. Right now, his confidence is rock bottom. And that's been created by Manchester United. And all we do as a fan base is talk about how we destroy players' careers. I'm looking at Voltemada at Newcastle going straight in and scoring a goal on his debut for Newcastle. And they're challenging at the top level. Manchester United, who couldn't score goals last season, spend £73 million on a striker. And Ruben doesn't start him because he's concerned and he needs to adapt. Adapt to what? Surely, Manchester United, 15th in the Premier League last season, you're bringing somebody in of that quality, you're going to play him, you brought him in for that reason. And right now, stop-start, makes his debut against Man City, too late for me, to be honest, in terms of when he should have been starting. And now look where we are. No goals, 5 games in, 1 win, confidence on the floor. And now you're having to pick everybody up and everybody's reporting on what might be going on behind the scenes, the fallout potentially behind the scenes. It makes no sense whatsoever. And this is why, if you weren't sure about the striker you were going for, if you weren't sure if he was going to be playing games, you should have gone out and bought Ollie Watkins, shouldn't you? I wanted Sesko. I like Sesko. I do. But I'm thinking Sesko needs to be playing week in, week out at Manchester United. If you keep putting him on the bench, his confidence is not going to get any better. I think it's a ludicrous decision. And again, that's a Ruben Amorim decision. It is. There's no one else in charge of that but him. And that needs to be looked at and questioned as well. Again, that's just another one of them tweaks. You could play Sesko with Bruno just behind him. You could have Cunha and Mbeumo either side of him. And Bruno then has got 2 holding midfielders, whether it's Casemiro or Ugarte, Casemiro or Mainu, or mix it around however you want. He's got that protection behind him. He's not worrying about it. And then you've got a defensive back 4, which know what they're doing. And who have you got in that back 4? You've got Managerial, who's a perfect right back and was brought in as a right back. You've got, I think, Dorgu on the left-hand side. Bin Luke Shaw straight off. Forget about him. Get Dorgu in there and get him playing alongside the likes of, De Ligt and Yoro or each when he comes back. I'm sorry, someone's going to have to miss out in that centre-back area. But this is the job of the manager. You get your better players on the pitch in the positions that they're best in, and all of a sudden, you watch what happens. You watch what happens to that Man United side. It all changes. So Ruben can do it. He more than can do it. And he can definitely change this Man United side and make a good fist of it. He really can. There is lots that he can do in this. And I'm not having that it is all the players. I know there is definite question marks on certain players. But he's in charge of picking them as well. Don't play them. Don't play them. Simple. Graham, a few super chats in. Actually, let's get through all of these now. Disgusted with Bruno for that hatchet job, as in out in the centre-backs, I think you meant there, and as well. Bruno didn't do his job well at all. So Bruno should shut up when it comes to talking about the centre-backs and what they should be doing. Bruno was sleeping. Well, I'm not going to defend him. I'm not going to defend any player at Manchester United right now. As much as I like them, the only defence he's got is that he shouldn't be in that position. But still, he cannot complain about other players doing different roles that they're not used to when he's failing at the one that he's doing as well. I get it. None of them are used to what they're doing and the mistakes everywhere, but take your own responsibility, I would say there, Bruno, on that one, which he usually does to give him credit, but that time, completely wrong, and I agree with what you said there, Ant, as well. Remember, Louis van Gaal was only going to do 1 more year and Jose became available. Louis van Gaal had 1 more year left. All I'm saying with Louis van Gaal is he shouldn't have been sacked. If you've won a trophy and you've come 5th and missed out on Champions League by what goal difference I think it was, that you don't get sacked on the day. That was a bad decision by Man United. I really do think. Yeah, but Jose, again, then went on and won 2 trophies the next season. So it wasn't a bad decision by United. And at that point, they probably thought they had just absolutely smashed it. They'd have got, 3 trophies in 2 seasons. 4 of you had the Community Shield. Right decision made. But then Jose wasn't backed against Player Power FC. And they completely undone everything that they'd started there, Man United, at that point. And that, again, was inmates running the asylum. It was ridiculous. The people running Man United at that point needed lynching. They really did. The bomb squad is almost out, yet we say player attitude. No one has ever said Bruno is a bad player, but he has been called a player with a bad attitude, a leader with bad attitude. Bench him, please. Everyone on that pitch. I'm not saying that Bruno needs to be benched and that's going to sort everything out. Bruno needs to spend time on the bench like everybody else does, is what I'm saying. But that's on Ruben again. We cannot blame Bruno Fernandes. We can't have a go at Bruno Fernandes. There is a man in charge of all of them players, and his name's Ruben Amorim. And that's why he should be getting the stick, because everybody can see what's happening on that pitch apart from him. And his stubbornness and blind faith in this system that he's got is going to get him sacked. Graham back again says, Van Gaal was backed. Remember the exodus of Ferguson players and most MK Dons? Yeah, I'm not even talking about that, Graham, mate. I'm talking about he shouldn't have been sacked, really. It's a tough one because his system was the only one that was identifiable on the pitch when you were watching it. The only one. You could see what Van Gaal was doing. He got across to the players. He turned Chris Smalling into an actual baller, which is saying something. So I think Louis Van Gaal was mistreated by Man United for the sacking side of things. But he did get a lot of players, and a lot of players left. He did. The decision to keep Phil Jones over Johnny Evans. Things like this. I wouldn't have gone that way. But again, we didn't know at the time, did we? And the opinions were a lot different back then. I remember it. If Amorim refuses to adapt, then replace him. Simple as, says Ginger Bish. And Lynn says, do we think Lamens starts against Chelsea? Again, did everybody see the video that I think it was Simon Stone put out of the warm-up with Senna Lamens? God, I don't think he got hold of anything. I don't think he managed to get any of the shots. I don't think he managed to hold on to any of the shots that he was doing. It was like, oh God, don't even go there right now. He's just nervous. Let's just put it down to nerves. But again, this is down to recruitment. You could have bought Emi Martinez. You could have easily bought Emi Martinez and just put this all to bed, but you didn't. You could have bought a striker that you know you were going to play, but you didn't. You went and bought out two young players in Sesko and Lamens for the future that if Ruben Amorim doesn't tweak his system, he's never going to see at Manchester United. So I actually look at this and think that Ineos have bought players that aren't Ruben Amorim players as well. In this, they're looking to the future, which adds doubt and speculation to the future of Ruben again. It does. And just to go over that again, the Sully quote that I said earlier on, Ruben Amorim has 1 foot out of the door, according to staff at Manchester United. His refusal to change and his stubbornness will get him sacked soon. That's from the ground at Carrington. If he doesn't change, please, Ruben, I love you. I think everything that you've done has been absolutely bang on what this club needed. But on the pitch, you have failed miserably. And it's only going to take a little tweak, a tiny little bit of adjustment with the same players on the pitch still, and you will fly. You will fly. That three at the back, honestly, the wing-backs, Mazraoui and Dorgu, don't offer enough going forward. That was a disaster. And like a lot of people have said, Man United had 5 defenders on the pitch on Sunday and lost 3 goals. I've seen it. I've seen everybody's reports. I've seen everybody's after-match reaction on the game, and that's what it's hard to argue against the facts and the stats that are there for the Manchester derby, isn't it? 5 defenders, 3 goals conceded. They didn't create anything meaningful at all going forward. Missed chance after missed chance, poor in front of goal. It's United's season. It is. What scares me is the manager just won't read the room. Reporters are asking him if he'll change his system. Flat out, no. Sack him now. Why wait? Says D. Trizzy in the super chat. Thank you, matey, for the super chats. Why not sack him now? A lot of people are saying they can see the writing on the wall. does Sir Jim Ratcliffe, which is the whole point of this video. Has he really seen it? Get involved in a poll as well that we've got going on as well. Would you be more accepting of the results if Ruben was making changes to the system? 58% of you have said yes. No, it's all about the results, 42%, so I'm not even letting him off. Look, if he changes the system, these players, we know, fit better in that system. They believe in Ruben. If they believe in Ruben, like they're all saying, then a slight change in system and just allowing players to express themselves that little bit more, then he will see a different team. You could easily go with a 4-4-2. Simple 4-4-2 formation. Play Bruno off Xerxes. Like Mark Hughes used to play off Cantona. I know I'm going back to the 90s here. But Bruno could easily just drop back into the midfield three then of Casemiro and Mainu, make a three in the middle. You've still got wide players. All of a sudden then you've got a 5 in midfield, which is rock solid because you've got battlers in Cunha and Bumo who are actually wide. They can come in tight. They can go out wide. Like, it's so simple. It is so simple. It is about personnel on the pitch because I think when you put certain players on the pitch, it automatically makes the formation for me. If you played Casemiro, Mainu and Bruno Fernandes, then all of a sudden you've got a baseline midfield three, which is going to be 20 times better than what we've got right now. And you're still managing to get ballers up on the pitch as well. You're still managing to get more players on like Cunha and Bumo and Sesko. And then if you've got Bruno and Mainu behind them, knowing that you've actually got the likes of Casemiro holding as they go forward, then you've got fullbacks bombing on like Mazraoui and Dorgu. It makes sense to me. It makes pure sense. And if Ruben does it, Ruben survives. Simple as, I think, because I do believe that we've got a good enough squad to compete and at least get into the Europa League this season. I still stand by that, but Ruben's just getting it wrong. He's getting it wrong. Anyway, I need to move on to the other news as well. Regarding Romano also saying last night, which I think is criminal, Manchester United turned down offers for Manuel Ugarte. I've looked more into this and it sort of made me feel better that there was loan offers for Manuel Ugarte in the summer. So if United were being offered loans, I could see why they didn't, because they wouldn't have had the money to replace him. And obviously we need a body there anyway. No Ugarte, is that better than having an Ugarte? Some might actually say that I'd rather have no Ugarte and no one there rather than have him there at the moment. It's like playing with less. That's a bit harsh. That I won't say that. Look, a lot of people have actually come at me and said I need to go and check the game again. Ugarte was one of our better players. He really wasn't. I look at the game completely different by the looks of it. But again, I'll just tell people to go back and watch Danny Murphy's analysis of it and how poor he was in discipline in his position. And that's exactly how I seen the game. Harry Maguire, that news is back again, everybody. Romano, as you can see going across the bottom of your screen right now, Harry Maguire, it is being discussed and is potentially an option for Manchester United that Harry Maguire gets a new deal at the end of this season. I'm just going to allow the live chat to digest that and then come straight in with their comments on Harry Maguire. New deal, end of the season. What are you saying, everybody? By the way, if you are in the chat later on, if you're in the comment section later on, please get in there and let me know what you think about Harry Maguire. Ugarte was at fault for the second and third goal. They're both on him, and the first goal as well, mate, in part. Not as much as the second and third, but watch the first. Watch what he does and see if you pick it out. I've already seen it. He had a hand in every single goal. It's about platforming players. Putting Bruno beside Ugarte is setting Ugarte up to fail, and doing likewise for both of them. It is not. Neither of them players suit each other in the midfield too. That's on Amorim. Neither of them players. Adam Ugarte wasn't brilliant, but he was decent enough. No, he wasn't. I feel for the lad. He's 24 and he's being expected to be a 6 and an 8 at the same time. Mate, he was poor. I'm sorry. I'm not letting him off. I'm sick of it. He's only just come to the team. He's 24 years old. You're mature enough to actually be able to adapt and play. If you're at Man United, I'm not giving any excuse to anybody. I'm in on Bruno. I'm in on Ugarte. I don't like anybody's performance. I thought there was a lot of crap on that game the other day. And Ugarte just isn't good enough for Manchester United. There's a reason why Ruben sold him in the first place. There's a reason why Enrique said he's not going to be part of my team, and we went and bought him. Again, I think that one... Look, Ugarte with a certain formation will do all right. He needs players around him. But it's like Victor Gyökeres at Arsenal. I think he's crap. But Arsenal make him look good because everything's been put on a plate for him. So he's going to look good in a good side. Manuel Ugarte will look good in a Manchester City or an Arsenal side because he's got absolute ballers around him. But when you've got a manager that's playing Bruno Fernandes next to him, it's going to make him look even worse, like somebody said. So, yeah, I'm not letting him off the hook at all. I thought he was horrendous in the game. I really did. And people will get carried away by certain moments where he steals the ball away. But there's so many opportunities for him to do things differently in that game where he didn't. And he was at fault. He had a fault in every single goal. 100%. We don't create for strikers. We might as well not play with one. Sadly, yeah. Would you give Harry Maguire another contract? A lot of people are still talking in the live chat now about everything else. Would you give Harry Maguire a contract? Harry Maldini had a massive head, says Tom. That's about all I've had so far on the Harry Maguire subject. Don't forget, everybody. Don't forget. We are going to be doing the Champions League watch-alongs. We've got a treble header of content for you tonight. We've got an early show here on FUTV, then leading into the Arsenal game, leading into the Spurs game tonight. So we've got 3 live shows this evening for you here on FUTV and the 2 watch-alongs for Arsenal and Spurs. A full football fix for you tonight, everybody, over on Football Talks as well, our other channel. So make sure you do get across there. And also get onto the QR code on your screen right now on Match Bingo, everybody. We are still running our 200% deposit booster. So get in there now, scan the QR code or drop onto the link in the description. Download the app, make your account, which is free. Deposit £5. If you are new, the Match Bingo will double that and put a tenner in straight away. But if you go to the promo code section, put in FUTV, all caps, on that, then you will be boosted by 200%. That is a special offer that just FUTV members have got at the moment. And it's only £2 a card. Get in there and trust me, with the amount of watch-alongs that we're doing this week, we're covering it all the way through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week on Football Talks. We're going to keep on pushing this out. I'm going to give people as much of an opportunity to win that money. We've had loads of people in the chat already winning jackpots and all sorts. Hundreds of pounds being won by Forever United TV subscribers, which is great. I love that. All right. Match Bingo also there in the live chat as well, everybody who's in there. We just pinned that one in from Tom there. That is the link. Get on that, please, everyone. Use promo code FUTV. Let's get some more comments in this as well. Bruno is the problem in midfield. Whoever plays with him struggles because they are doing 2 jobs. Bruno should play as one of the 10s, or be dropped. Like Shaw should be dropped. He's not good enough. Not in big games, it would seem. Definitely not. I'd give Maguire a contract extension and then sell him immediately. We're talking here, though, that Maguire's going to be staying. Maguire's staying on a new deal at that age that he is. In fact, let me just double check. Harry Maguire right now. How old will he be at the end of this season? Okay, Harry Maguire is going to be 33 at the end of this season, and you want to give him a contract. This is one thing Man United never used to do. United never gave extended contracts to players over the age of 30. It was 1 year rolling. If it's a 1 year rolling contract and you can't find another centre-back, maybe. But you're clutching again, aren't you? You really are. You really are. And I just don't think it's right. I think we should be just looking further ahead. We need to move past Harry Maguire. Stop clinging on to players that have been part of the fabric. And I'm not questioning Harry Maguire's professionalism, but he has been part of the problem at Man United as well, because we haven't been winning with him. So, yeah, I know it's a combined, and I know it's all of the players together, and you can't individually pick certain players out, but if we are going to move forward, then I do think we need to move on past the old guard. Please give the video a like, everybody. Absolutely loving that show this morning. Going to wrap things up there. Get your likes in, and please do hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you, everyone who already has. We have hit the 100k, which is amazing. Thank you for that again. Don't forget, jump across to Football Talk. Subscribe to that channel. We're going to be doing a watch-alongs later tonight. More information on that later on. We're going to be live around about 5 o'clock this evening here on Forever United TV. With your evening updates on everything going down, leading into them watch-alongs as well. So make sure that you're there. I'll be on Sky around about 10 o'clock talking about why Ruben should stay, how he stays, actually. I think more to the point. But until then, thank you, everybody. Absolutely loved that. Mods, fantastic job. Again, as always, welcome along new subscribers. Thank you, everybody who's put in super chats or donated on the show today. I will see you all later on. Have a fantastic day, everybody. It's a busy one.